Now we're going to explore growth mindset, which is the third theme of the entrepreneur. Growth mindset in the literature often refers to personal growth. In our case, it specifically means the capability to take successful experiments and develop them at scale so that they deliver value at a large scale. The transition between experimentation and scaling up is a huge challenge for many organizations. Indeed, too often, successful experiments end up delivering limited or small success locally and fail to reach their full potential. In other words, they stagnate. So in the process, there is a chasm that is called the stagnation chasm. And this chasm exists for 4 reasons: inadequate funding, a talent gap, the context gap, and finally, the capability gap. The role of the agile leader or the entrepreneur is to bridge this chasm and overcome these 4 challenges. There are 4 enablers that help us to transition smoothly from experimentation to scaling up, or in other words, to industrialize an innovative solution. The first one is funding. And now we can finally start talking about the business case. The first element is usually time to market, because when we talk about an innovative solution, it might not be valid forever on the market. We have a window of opportunity. The second element is the benefits. And of course, besides the typical monetary benefits, ROI if you want, there are the non-monetary benefits that are often very important for innovative solutions, such as developing the brand, attracting and retaining talent, putting a foot in the door in a new market. In other words, it's important when we have an innovative solution not to use a strictly accounting perspective to assess the business case, or else we might miss out on some opportunities. Then there is the risks. As the benefits are usually higher but more fuzzy, the risk will tend to reflect that. However, the number one risk is typically not to do it. What happens if we don't deliver the solution? And finally, the implementation process must take into account the life cycle of how innovations are adopted. For example, with first early adopters and so on through different populations of users. The second enabler is talent. And first, let me put that in context. Until recently, a team of 3 people were working on this experiment with a lot of freedom and management support. And now the experiment has been successful and there is the will to industrialize the innovative solution. Tens, maybe hundreds of people will work to scale up this innovative solution within a strict regulatory context. For example, project management gates, financial governance, and so on. Obviously, it's a very different context. So what kind of team, what kind of talent can we put together to make it as easy as possible? The first role to look at is a sponsor. He or she has to be a visionary, capable to motivate people with an innovative vision. And maybe more importantly, he or she has to be comfortable with uncertainty and innovation. Then there is the management. There are team leaders, IT directors, and so on. They have to understand that their role is a bit different than for a traditional project or product. They can change their behavior. They might have some new responsibilities. Overall, there has to be the development of new skills. And almost for every innovative initiative, there is at least one technology that is new, for which we don't have much skills or talent. There might be new systems, new assets, and so on. So we have to factor that into the plan to deliver this innovative solution. And one way to alleviate all this learning that has to happen when we industrialize is also to leverage partners. And I'm not talking here about outsourcing innovation, of course. I'm talking here about using partners like startups, academics, and so on, specifically to accelerate the transfer of technology and the learning. And finally, what happens to the people who were involved in this idea or experiment initially? Are they still there when we industrialize? What kind of role do they have? The answer is yes, they do have a role, because what we want to avoid is that there is experimentation over there, then there is a big wall, and when they finish experimentation, they throw the solution, the experiment over the wall, and it gets into the lap of the people who have to implement it without any context and maybe not even the interest to do it. So we must absolutely ensure a continuity between experimentation and industrialization. And besides the process itself, it's about keeping the same people on board. The third enabler is the context. It means, are we able to transpose the context in which the idea has been thought of and the experiments have validated in a broader context in terms of population, place, and so on. For example, if we validated the hypothesis that indeed there is an interest for board showing the service status in front of each metro station, will it also work for a streetcar station, a bus station, a train station? If it works in New York, will it also work in Shanghai? Will people find it equally valuable over there? So we have to look at the different application domains of this innovation to bring it up to scale. The second point of context is how it can interact with other things, for example, with the different technologies, people, and processes. And the fourth enabler is the capability. For example, do we have, as an organization, the infrastructure, the platforms, the IT systems, the production process that can bring this innovation at scale? If not, how can we build it? Although we already validated life or death hypotheses, like feasibility hypothesis, in experimentation, there must still be a number of things to look into to make sure we're capable to bring that up to the market or to wherever we want to bring it and operate it efficiently.